Welcome back to the Crypto World channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is around $1,000 away from the all-time high. And that's just after the launch of the first ever Bitcoin futures ETF in the US. And that brand new Bitcoin futures ETF had about $1 billion worth of trading volume in its first day, making it the second most heavily traded new ETF on record. Also, right now, we've got a brand new pattern playing out and a new fractal on the charts. So this is definitely a video to watch all the way to the end so that you're not missing out on any of this valuable information. And just before we jump into it, make sure to drop a like on the video down below. And if you're new to the channel, you might as well subscribe with notifications turned on so that you're not missing out on any of these future updates. But anyway, with all of that out of the way, let's get straight to what this video is about. So right here, we're on the Bitcoin US dollar chart on the 4-hour time frame. And what we can see here is just a matter of hours ago, we got very close to the all-time high itself. The Bitcoin all-time high is a little bit different depending on what exchange you're looking at, but it's coming in at just about $65,000 on most exchanges. And so around half a day ago, the Bitcoin price got within about $500 from the all-time high, less than 1% away. So clearly, as you can see, right now, the Bitcoin price is trading in the middle of this range of resistance that we've been looking at for quite some time now. This is between $63,000 and $65,000. Over the past few days, this exact range of resistance has been holding down the Bitcoin price. And right now, this is the first time we've breached into that range of resistance. But with that being said, this is potentially playing out a brand new fractal on the chart right now. And the fractal that we're potentially playing out right now is replicating this previous price action. And I'm sure you can already see the similarities. For example, we had a move to the upside in both cases here, and then we entered a little bit of sideways consolidation with a small push to the upside. As you can see here, sideways consolidation with a small push to the upside. And then both times we came into resistance with a little bit of a flat top here. And that's basically where we are right now. But last time round, we actually had a small pullback in the Bitcoin price before later coming back up and retesting this area of resistance and then seeing a breakout to the upside. And by copying this previous price action just here and overlaying it over the current price without making any changes, you can see how similar that this price action is playing out right now. And so basically, if this continues to play out like what we saw last time, we could have a small rejection from this range of resistance initially, and that could pull us back down towards around $60,000 before we find support again, just like how we did back here. And then we could come back up into this range of resistance where we find one last little bit of resistance and then we push above the all-time high. And by the way, the moment we break above the all-time high, the moment we see a confirmed break above 65K, that's the level to break, because when that happens, it's very likely that we're going to see a pretty quick explosion to the upside in the Bitcoin price. And so basically, the moment we break above the all-time high, all bets are off for any sort of short-term pullback. In fact, right now, I'm not even betting on a short-term pullback. I'm definitely not shorting Bitcoin by any means. I'm just simply letting you guys know that the current price action looks very similar to what happened back here. And if that continues to play out, then this could give you one last amazing entry point into Bitcoin, whether that's spot or into a long position. And just quickly taking a look at the RSI, right now, we're still technically forming that potential bearish divergence. This bearish divergence will only get canceled out if the RSI can start pushing above this line just here, which is right now coming in at around 70 on the 4-hour RSI. And I spoke about this yesterday on the channel, but what I did not mention is the fact that we saw pretty much the same sort of thing back here. We saw a perfect bearish divergence into this area of resistance, which led into that small pullback that I just talked about. And so not only are we seeing similar price action, we're also seeing similar things in the RSI. And that is not all. Bringing out the Bollinger Bands indicator right now, that's showing the exact same thing as well. After we had that initial move to the upside and sideways consolidation last time, that led into a squeeze in the Bollinger Bands right before the price moved up into this point of resistance. And at that stage, the Bollinger Bands were expanding again. And right now, we are seeing the exact same thing play out in the Bollinger Bands as well. But obviously, nothing is 100% guaranteed in these markets. I want to make that clear. Just because we're seeing the exact same things right now as what we did back here, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to have the exact same outcome. And that's why I said earlier that I'm not actually betting on a move to the downside by any means. It's just if that actually happens, then that could be one last opportunity to get involved into Bitcoin before we smash through the all-time high. And as I said in my last Bitcoin update video yesterday, Bitcoin made yesterday a day for the history books because yesterday was the day that the first ever Bitcoin futures ETF traded in the United States. And that is the ProShares Bitcoin ETF. And that's what this is right here on the 4-hour time frame. So you can clearly see it's only just been launched. This is on the 1 minute time frame. So you can see a little bit more price action. And it was definitely a successful launch for this this Bitcoin ETF. In fact, it was so successful that around $1 billion worth of trading volume was executed on the first day of trading. And just to put that into perspective, that was the second most heavily traded new ETF on record. This is out of every single exchange traded fund. The Bitcoin ETF that launched yesterday was the second most traded ETF of all time on its first day. So this goes to show that there is huge demand for Bitcoin and Bitcoin products. And if anything, this should promote the SEC to look into approving a spot Bitcoin ETF, which is really what we need because that would be a real ETF. In this case, this is a Bitcoin futures ETF. So the ETF is backed by futures contracts rather than actual Bitcoin. But I explained all of that in much more detail in my video yesterday on the channel. So for the new viewers on the channel, make sure you're checking out that video after you finish watching this one. But considering that this Bitcoin futures ETF still gives investors the same sort of exposure to Bitcoin in terms of the fluctuations in price and that sort of thing, and considering the huge success for this first launch day of the Bitcoin ETF and the huge amounts of demand for a Bitcoin ETF, there's really no more legitimate reasons why the SEC would stop a Bitcoin spot ETF from launching. And on top of all of the success for Bitcoin recently, we just had the highest daily candle close in Bitcoin's entire history. Before yesterday's daily candle, the previous highest daily candle close in Bitcoin's history was back here in around the middle of April, and that closed at around 63.6K approximately. And we closed yesterday's Bitcoin daily candle above $64,200, making a brand new all-time high in terms of daily candle closes. And by the way, you certainly do not see this type of thing in a bear market, obviously. So this is extra confirmation on the direction that we are heading in this longer term trend. And also make sure you're leaving a like on this video down below if you enjoyed it, and be sure to subscribe with notifications turned on if you are new to the channel. As always, I appreciate all of your support on the channel at the moment. I can't thank you guys enough. And just before you click off this video, make sure you're watching one of these uploads if you haven't already. The video in the top left will show you how I trade Bitcoin, and the video in the bottom left corner will show you exactly how I earn passive income every day in crypto with no work required. So if you're serious about making money in crypto, check out one of those videos. But anyway, that's really everything I have to say for this video. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.